Alright, in this video we are talking through the first 4 problems in your geometry review packet. Number 1 says figure TQRS is similar to triangle or to figure BCDE. What are the pairs of congruent angles? All we're doing is we're matching up the angles that match. Remember, if they have the same number of like hash marks or arcs in them, then they are in the same size. So first thing I notice is that S has one curve and one hash. E has one curve and one hash. So S and E have to go together. Now you have a multiple choice final, so go ahead and cross out all the ones that are not S and E together. This one has Q and E, so it's out. This one has T and E, so that's out. This one has S and D, so that's out. My last one also has S and E, which is what we're looking for. Look at that. With one thing, we are at our correct answer. I'm going to talk through why it is really the correct answer before I move on. D has a line or an arc and 2 lines. R has an arc and 2 hash marks, so D and R go together. My next pair is going to be, let's say, Q and C. I know those are the same because they're both on the same side as my green angle. So we need Q and C together, which is right here. And then the last one is T and B, which again are on the same side as the red angle. And those match as well. So your answer for number 1 should be D. For the second one, it's missing the directions, but essentially they want you to solve for X. And we know that our triangles are similar. So I know that these two sides go together. So my first fraction is going to be 5x over 5. And my second one, we want the number that's on our big triangle on top again. So we're going to have a 4 on top over x. Those are in the same spot. We're going to set those two things equal to each other, and then we're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to do 5x times x. When I do that, I get 5x squared. And then we do 5 times 4, and I get 20. We're trying to solve for x, so we need to get it by itself. So to move my 5, I'm going to divide both sides by 5. When I do that, I get x squared equals 20. Or just kidding, excuse me. X squared equals 4. And then to get rid of my squared, I'm going to take the square root. And that tells me that x equals 2. We're trying to solve for x. So your answer should be B. Number 3 says, which theorem or postulate proves the two triangles are similar? To be similar, they have to have one of the qualities that is down below. They either need 2 angles that are similar to each other, 3 sides that are similar, or 2 sides and the angle in between. They have a side angle postulate. We never really use that one, so that one shouldn't be our answer, but we'll see. So if I look at this one, the first thing I notice is that we have a couple angles that are the same, this one here and this one there. We could check our side lengths, but I noticed that I don't have 3 sides. I only have 2. We have 19 and 76 over 5, and we have 20 and 16. There's nothing I could do to find the other side, so it's not going to be side, 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 that's for sure. I also noticed that my angle isn't between my 2 sides. Notice your angle is here. If you want to use side angle side, this one, your angle has to be in between the green and the yellow, in between the green and the yellow. We don't have that angle, so we can't use that theorem. So I'm going to undo those. This one's out too. I do notice that this angle and this angle are congruent. Remember, those are called vertical angles or kissing V's. They are the same size. So right now I notice that I don't know anything about my sides really. But if I erase all my other markings, I have 2 angles. That means that my triangles are going to be similar by the angle-angle postulate. 4 says using information in the diagram to determine the height of the tree to the nearest foot. Remember, we learned about these things called mid-segments. If I draw another picture, if you have a segment and it's in the middle of that part and the middle of this part, then this length, if it's x, this one is x divided by 2. So I know that if I have mid-segments, my mid-segment itself is half the distance or half as long as the longer one. So I have those in my case. We are looking for the height of the tree. We want to determine that to the nearest foot. And we have the height of the building, which makes up like the end of my triangle. I know that building is 160 feet. I know I can use these mid-segment theorems because this part is congruent to that one. So this point here has to be a midpoint. And this segment is congruent to this one. So this right here is also a midpoint. To find the length of that blue guy, we're going to take 160 and we're going to divide it by 2. When I divide it by 2, I get 80. My units are going to be feet. So my final answer is going to be A. And that should take you through numbers 1 through 4.